Welcome back to the fourth session here at the second Global Textile Conference, the fourth session on digitalization in textile manufacturing. And as I just wrote in the chat, I'm sitting in Berlin, Germany, since I'm a consultant for GherziTextil Germany, and my connection is not as good as it should be. So there's already one thing, Germany in digitalization, there are some things we have to work on in Germany. One thing for sure, that's the internet connection in our country. But no worries. We did pre-recordings of our sessions. So we do have 1, 2, 3, I think 4 wonderful presentations, one more than in the program. And I had the chance to make pre-recordings of the presentations. So I think the best is we do show you the recordings, and afterwards there is time for some question and answers, and I'm happy to moderate that. So may I ask the host to play the videos? We start with video 0 and then it's 1, 2, 3, please.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to the fourth session of the second Global Textile Conference with the topic Digitalization in Textile Manufacturing. As you see, we did record the session beforehand. Due to the pandemic, we cannot meet each other. I love being on stage, giving presentation, having the interaction with the audience, or listening myself to presentation and having the chance to ask questions and answers and so on and so on. So we did a recording of the session, digital, of course, if we talk about digitalization in textile manufacturing. Please let me introduce myself. My name is Yves Gloy. I'm a consultant for GherziTextil Germany. I'm located in Berlin, in the capital of Germany, and right now I'm sitting in my home office. You see, in my home office, and from my background, I'm a textile mechanical engineer. I have a track record of more than 15 years of research in the field of textile machinery, with a strong focus on digitalization and Industry 4.0. And I'm lecturing, I'm giving lectures on the topic at the RWTH Aachen University, at the Technical University in Chemnitz, and at the Clemson University in South Carolina and the US. Besides my consulting role, the lecturing role, I'm also an entrepreneur, setting up a textile mill 4.0 lot size 1 production here in Berlin. And within GherziTextil, of course, we support and help our clients in the field of digitalization in textile manufacturing. Often there's a need for answers to question, okay, where to start digitalization? How can I do it? What are there for solutions in the market, or do I need to develop my own solutions? What kind of partners do I need? We do have a very, very good network in the field of IT, software, hardware, machines, and other partners you need for your own digitalization journey. And of course, we support in setting up the right projects, getting the right results. But that's of course very much important and will be also pointed out in the presentations later on. So what's the value of digitalization? What's the return on invest? How can you get more competitive in your production using digitalization? So these are questions that we, especially GherziTextil Germany, are working with our clients right now. So what will happen? We will have 3 wonderful presentations, and I will introduce you to the speakers at the beginning of every presentation. And after the presentation, I will have the chance to ask some questions to the presenter. And please be aware, listen carefully, there's a lot of value in the inputs in the presentations you will hear. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentations. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first presentation here at the second Global Textile Conference and the fourth session on digitalization in textile manufacturing. And I'm very happy and feel honored that we have Mr. René Krebs, the CEO and co-founder of CITI AG, presenting now here to us. Please let me introduce Mr. René Krebs to you. So Mr. René Krebs started his career with a federal diploma as a polygraph and then looked for new challenges in web development and 3D animation. After graduating in digital film and animation at the School Audio and Engineering, he felt more and more drawn into the world of moving images. A bachelor in game design from the Zurich University of the Arts put him on the path to an interactive future. He sees the rise of gamification as the opening of a new and exciting possibilities in the industrial sector. Mr. Krebs, I do see the same. Gamification, that's a very, very interesting topic. You prepared a presentation. Please, you have 10 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for being here. My thematic is digital twins for textile manufacturing, or digital twins in general. And we are focusing in this session on the machine engineering in the textile industry. So let's just start right into it and ask ourselves, what is a digital twin? The digital twin is a database representation of a real object, but that can be a representation of a complex system like cities and or the production plants. It can be also a representation of machinery and production lines, but it can be also a representation of consumer goods like a sweatshirt or shoes or something else. So there are a couple of the different types of digital twins, and I will focus in the presentation on machinery and production lines. So a digital twin is a data set representation of the machine, enriched and connected to as many sources as they are needed in the use case. So for example, we are connecting live sensor data from the machinery to a digital twin. We are connecting certificates, the different guidelines, manuals, and even instructor elements to this virtual representation of a product. And then we can use it in the virtual room. So a machinery stands as its own representation. It can stand in combination with other machineries, can even stand in a installation in a closed production circle or in a complete factory, even in the context of a physical or virtual factory. So let's go back to the single machine, and this digital twin here looks a little bit low detail, so we switch into a more sophisticated digital twin where we have access to every little element and component. And what we can do with that, we have a couple of example use cases. We can use the digital twin in the construction. During the product development, the digital twin can deliver real-time construction insights for every department in the company. We can apply simulation process on the digital twin, and we can fasten product review processes. So we have these areas where we can use the digital twin. In service and training, for example. So a technician or a new employee has to get to know about the machinery and has a step-by-step guidance to a specific part and visual represented instruction what they have to do. And most important is I'm in an interactive environment, so I can also report back configurations and parameters to the digital twin. So the digital twin will learn about what I'm doing, what I'm, how I do manipulate them, how I change the configuration. So for example, I can type in that I changed the configuration of a given part by 90 degrees. And also adding different additional information layers or elements like this sign here, to be cautious about crunching his fingers in this section of the machine. And as a further example of training is that an employee will register on a tablet or on a HoloLens, it doesn't matter, for a training. And then I have this virtual representation of the line or of the product, and we have the ability in this virtual environment to simulate hazardous situations, for example, and we can also give context about the environment, for example, first aid help or where the fire extinguishers are, just as an example here. And also the digital twin can be mapped directly over the real machine and can be accessed by a tablet or a HoloLens, for example. So that means I'm entering the real machine production line, and then I have access on the virtual layer and can have insights on, for example, sensor data or production relevant data with just this virtual layer.
Mhm.
The marketing and sale approach is that we have access on every product in our portfolio. We have it virtually in our hands on our smartphones or our tablets, and can, like in this example of Rieter, we have access to attribute-based virtual representations for exhibitions, for example, or for product calibrations directly at the client. And so we can go into every detail and every benefit of the machinery or the complete system, even on the very detailed components. And what we are talking about is a virtual distribution system. So all PMs have access to all the digitized products, all the digital twins of the products. They can be used in a digital virtual showroom, and the customer can get information through a website and through the showroom about the products. You can get information at the virtual or physical exhibition, or you can get the information directly through the PM, the salesperson, which has access to all these digital twins or this digital showroom. And last but not least, just one example in the after sales area is part identification for remote support or spare parts ordering. So there are a couple of use cases where it's very important to have a very clear identification of parts. So this example here, I can directly choose which spare part it has to be ordered, or I can point at the specific component in a remote support setting for my clients, and it creates a lot of more innovative possibilities in after sales. In general, that's what we are trying to achieve with our digital twin. It's saving money by cost reductions for more efficient workflows in training, service, and marketing, increasing flexibility because we have this access on the virtual information layer above our real product or real machinery. We have we grow attraction because we have interactive actions with this virtual product in presentations, but also in training, and that boosts also the motivation with this new kind of workflows we can define there. And we have to think about the digital twin in a modular system. So that was just a couple of examples I showed in this presentation, in manner of training or monitoring. There are a couple of other use cases and fields we can get into it, and it all depends on how the data are prepared and how accessible they are. So thank you very much for your attention.
Yes, Mr. Krebs, thank you very much for your very, very impressive presentation. Personal point of view, I'm 40 years old. I got my first computer when I was 10 years old. It was an Amiga 500. And it's really impressive to see, what you can do in a virtual world, how realistic you just demonstrated a spinning mill can look like. Besides that, in my opinion, the digital twin will play an important and a leading role in the future of textile production. And what I really liked is that you not only showed, so in what areas the digital twin can be used, but what's also the benefit of using a digital twin. But let me ask a couple of questions. First of all, as I said, you showed certain areas where a digital twin can be used. In your opinion and with your experience, where should the digital twin be used first? Where to start with the digital twin?
I think it depends on how far the company is in the process of digitization. So if the company is has some experience in the digitization and handling the 3D data and preparing all this also data like IoT data like sensor data and so on, they can go directly in the use case of service or advanced employee trainings or even client trainings. But if they're just at the beginning of the journey of digitization, I would recommend to start with something not invasive, I call it. So that means sales and marketing can be set up as a perfect tryout process to see what the benefits are and how they work inside the company, because all the employees have to get into it, these new workflows and these new kind of using product data. And yeah, I would recommend that if the company is not that experienced in the digitization process.
Okay, very good. Let's start there. And in your experience, how open are employees and customers to these kind of digital services that you presented?
More and more. So, but it's only human that the first contact is always a little bit surprising for the people, I would say, and they need to be involved very early. So if we involve the people in new processes, in new ways of working with data, then we will have their patiency, we have their motivation. Otherwise, if we just give them new tools and give the order to use them, then they're always a little bit interrupted in their old workflows they had with, I don't know, PowerPoint or even by pen and paper. And if we integrate the employees very early in the digitization process, then they're very up into it. Even the older generations, we have great feedback with new tools.
Yeah, perfect. And now looking in the future, so in general, in the industry, how do you see the interaction with machines, in your opinion?
I would say, never mind of the output device. It doesn't matter if it's a AR smart glasses or it's a tablet. I think head-mounted displays will be the future, because we have the hands-free approach, and it's a big benefit for that. But I think more important will be that I, as an employee, as a technician, for example, has a virtual ID also, and the machine, the virtual representation of the machine will recognize my ID, my profile, and the complete interface around the machine will be configured for my specific task I have to do at this specific date. So this journey of pushing efficiency in this sections is a long way to go still. But I think that's one of the most interesting journeys we have in front of us.
Mr. Krebs, well said. For this journey, I wish you a lot of success in bringing digital twins and more gamification, digital service to our industries. Thank you very much for your presentation. As said, a lot of success on your journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So the recording is running, and I'm happy to say hello again. Welcome back to the fourth session on digitalization of textile manufacturing here at the second Global Textile Conference. And I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Michela Puddu to you. So Dr. Michela Puddu, during her PhD in mechanical engineering at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, she has co-invented Haelixa technology and later co-founded the company with the goal to accelerate the global transition to transparent consumer goods supply chain. She's a regular speaker at national and international events and trade shows, including meetings of the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, the World Economic Forum, TEDx, and others. For her outstanding, inspiring work in bringing this innovation to the market and active leadership, Michela Puddu has been awarded the 2019 EU Prize for Women Innovators under 35 category. Impressive, Dr. Puddu. I'm really looking forward for your presentation. You're going to show us what's your innovation and how it helps the industry. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction and for having us. And I believe that anyone who is attending this webinar is aware of the growing consumer demand for sustainable fashion. And I'm sure you're also aware that determining the sustainability of clothes is as complex as their value chains. So unlocking this complexity through the traceability of materials is the first necessary step to implement credible sustainability. And I'm sure that many of you already recognize the importance of this issue and are committed to create more transparency. Most companies probably still rely on paper trail, but many are already looking into digital alternatives. And technologies such as artificial intelligence or blockchain can really take traceability to another level by offering a quick and reliable way to cross-reference the information and also to create direct links between the various actors in the supply chain. A digital supply chain management system provides surely real-time end-to-end transparency through the whole supply chain, which in turn make the supply chain itself more flexible and efficient. So this is all great. However, we face a risk here. And the risk is that this interconnected world of supply chain data, of digital supply chain data, will become even more disconnected from the real life products. I can give you an example here. So what if, for instance, certified cotton can mix with a conventional one somewhere in the supply chain? So there is no way for a digital system, a blockchain or EPR system to know. There is no way to figure that out. So there is no way to prove that the digital data that is uploaded in such systems is indeed authentic. And only when transparency is established in the physical domain it can be then extended to the digital one. So that's where my work focus. At Haelixa, we found a way to reconnect the product information with the product itself. So what we do is turning the products into the carrier of the information about their own journey and their own integrity. The patented solution has been established at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology and make use of DNA tracers. Basically, as for individuals, we provide product with a unique DNA identity, which can be traced. These DNA markers are sprayed on the cotton at the farm and potentially any other location in the supply chain, and stay linked to it throughout the whole life cycle. This way, the product information travels with the product itself and cannot be manipulated nor removed in any ways. What sets us apart is the extreme versatility of the solution. So through the use of DNA, an unlimited number of unique identifiers is available to provide a unique fingerprint for each individual farm, manufacturer, location, fiber type even, including natural, recycled, cellulosic, and synthetic fibers. And as the client working with us, you determine what is the goal of the traceability and therefore which product data are more relevant to you, which can have to be associated with the markers. The markers are extremely easy to apply, so that can be integrated into existing processes and do not alter the processes themselves nor the material properties. They are harmless. They are also approved by GOTS and are Ecotech Standard 100 compliance. Last but not least, they've been engineered to withstand most production processing conditions in a way that we can really provide products with a traceable physical fingerprint from producer until retail. And then at any point in time, a product, finished product or intermediate product can be submitted to a simple and quick verification test to determine if it really is what it is claimed to be and to capture statistically relevant supply chain data. A record is then created for every sample verified and the client receives a verification report. And finally, our ingredient label mark and trace by Haelixa, combined with other engaging system like barcodes, can be used to allow company to inform about their traceability effort and also to share supply chain data information with the end consumers or with their clients. Now, label, certificate, digital data can be manipulated, can be falsified, can be copied, but the invisible markers always prove that the product really is what it is claimed to be. And this way, we really bring full visibility into complex supply chains. Each marker is also a label of authenticity, ensuring the identification and protection of products that might differentiate through quality, through processing, or through fiber type. And then our solution provides reliable data that support your product claims. We validate product claims related to origin, quality, processing at each and every step of the supply chain. And this is also the way we support best practices and protect the use of certain claims or of certain standards. So we protect the interests of manufacturers and brands in the cotton, the wool, the cashmere, and the silk industry. So these are the companies we work with. And here you can see the logo of some of these manufacturers or brands. Additional recognition has been received from organizations such as the Organic Cotton Accelerator and the United Nations Commission, Economic Commissions for for Europe. And with that, I would conclude, inviting you to talk to us if you're willing to contribute to establish our higher level of openness and accountability into global textile supply chains. Thank you.
Dr. Puddu, thank you very much for your presentation. Wonderful. I think transparency, traceability, that's one of the key elements of the future sustainable global textile manufacturing production. So thank you very much for your insights in your company, in your innovation. And please, I prepared 4 questions, yes, that I wanted to ask you. First of all, are you also providing the digital interface to manage the supply chain data?
Yes, we can provide one. We can provide access to our data storage and tracking system if a company requests so, but it's not mandatory. So alternatively, we can also rely on the client's data management system. And sometimes this is the preferred way. And generally, the test results are provided in a digital format and therefore can be recorded into any EPR or blockchain system.
Okay. And where's the data related to information of products using your marker stored, and how can it be accessed?
So every time we do a verification test, we record that into our tracking system, and the client receives a verification report by email. Alternatively, if requested, we enable the clients to access our tracking system in a way that we can also help them manage their supply chain data and verification test results. And there can be also an extra step, that is, consumer can be also granted access to some of this supply chain data through systems such as QR code or alternative method based on the brand choosing, which can be applied on the product itself.
Okay. And the marker itself, is it harmless, or do they affect the organic nature of cotton or its quality?
Absolutely not. So the markers have been approved as chemical inputs by the Global Organic Textile Standard and therefore can be used in GOTS certified products. They are inert and they are added in trace level, minute amount. So in this way, they do not modify the product properties in any way, nor affect any production steps.
Okay, that's good. And please, my last question. In your opinion, how can innovations like yours support the Indian textile industry?
Yeah, sure. So I believe that to stay competitive, in the Indian players will have to need to create a differentiated value proposition, focusing on quality rather than just quantity, and embracing digitalization and innovation across the supply chain is certainly a way to do that. Additionally, with product authenticity and traceability becoming key differentiators, I think it is important to invest into advanced traceability solution to help prove indeed the product origin and integrity. And I think such added value would surely help India to regain some market share and maintain existing one by better really positioning itself.
Yeah, I totally agree. Perfect. Thank you very much, Dr. Puddu. That's it. Thank you for your presentation and your answer to the questions and giving us insights in your technology. And I wish you a lot of success on your journey, bringing this technology to the textile production and make it more traceable and more sustainable, and with that also more competitive. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the recording is running, Mr. Prasanta Deka. I'm very happy to have you here at our second Global Textile Conference. And please, before you start your presentation about digitalization in textile, please give me some time to introduce you to the audience. So, Mr. Prasanta Deka, he is the market head of Rieter in India and a member of the executive team. You graduated in textile technology, but not enough that you are a textile technologist. You also have a MBA in marketing and finance. So a very strong combination, marketing view and technology. That's very good. You have been working for Rieter since 1996, and you have been instrumental in building Rieter set up in India, including the product introduction to the market from local manufacturing. That's right, Mr. Prasanta Deka. Okay, I'm very happy. You will talk about impact and opportunities of digital manufacturing and spinning. And you have 8 to 10 minutes for your presentation. And afterwards, there's time. I prepared some questions, so I'm looking forward to have an interaction afterwards with you. But first of all, the floor is yours, Mr. Prasanta Deka. Please, up to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, for the nice introduction that you have given already. And very good morning and good afternoon to all the attendees of this great conference. And I'm really thankful to the organizers as well as CITI for giving this opportunity to present our steps in digitization, or what we think about digitization in textiles. So I'll run you through some basic trends, what is happening in textile, particularly in the field of spinning, and would like to give you what Rieter is trying to achieve out of our digital strategy. So the first the first point. Well, I'm stuck with this slide. I cannot. The first, we all know why this data has become the new oil of the today's world. I mean, data has become very, very important. And I think digitalization is nothing but data. Unless we have data, we really cannot go forward. So if you see the punch words that we have mentioned now, so what is happening? If we want to know what is happening inside a factory, what is happening inside a manufacturing plant, so we need descriptive data. Then we have to diagnose it. I mean, why did something happen? If there is a breakdown, why did it happen? If we achieved record production, how could we do that? Then comes the next steps, prediction. We have to predict what is likely to happen. It starts from market, it starts from prices, it starts from raw material prices. That's how today's world is. And then, of course, the second last is prescriptive. What we have to do now, if the market is heading for a certain boom, or if the market is heading for a certain slowdown, or if my plant, there are certain equipments which are going to give me trouble in coming days. So what should I do now? And the last, of course, the cognitive approach, proactive behavior. How do we simulate all our data to achieve at what we should do? Now let's go to the opportunities, the digital transformation opportunities for spinning industry in particular, because we represent spinning. Actually, the experience with digital technology is something like a generation shift. Where if we see 10 years back, I think we were only talking about digitization, but we really did not know how this will be achieved. And today, we are already at a point where we need very quick access to all the relevant informations. Then we have issues like difficulties in finding the right people for the right job. This has become, a problem in countries where we have a lot of people. Forget about the developed countries. Wages are increasing everywhere. Then there are lack of reliable and equally conscious personnel. This is mainly because there are preferences today, because the new generation, they have their own preferences over what they would like to do and what they will not like to do. So sometimes you'll end up in a situation that you are not able to attract people to the kind of job that you have. And the last one, of course, the analytical thinking and competence, which seems to be fading away. This is what we see in spinning, because the modern gadgets, the modern trends in several areas are luring all the talents to a particular area like IT. They want to go to maybe automobile or space research. So who will do textiles? So we really need a certain solution for this. Now, this is how a textile spinning plant looks. I mean, those of who you are in spinning, you will immediately recognize this. But those who are not, let me tell you, from the left side where you put the cotton bales or the fibers inside, and the right side, the long machines from where you get the final yarn. So what used to happen now or a couple of years back, that you need an individual monitoring of all these machines and processes manually, because you really do not have any connection between one process to another process or one machine to the other machine. Now what happens with development of our digital technology, we are able to now control the entire process with a lot of intelligence and analytics, and you know what is happening, where it is happening, and why it is happening. And not only that, we are also able to really find out what would be the prediction and what are the steps that we have to take to avoid certain situations which we may not like in future. For example, this is something like a spinning mill network. I mean, you can see there are, third-party systems which call the stock planning, raw material stock planning, and then you have interest and overheads, and you have yarn inventory. So these are all related to your input and output. And then you have got a series of machines which will finally produce the yarn, starting from fiber to yarn. And then you have several other equipments which are related to this process. For example, you have a filter plant, you have an air compressor, then you have a whole lot of energy that you have to feed these machines to run. Then you have a quality lab where you test offline all the qualities that you are producing in each and every process, not only the yarn output, but each and every process. And then you have to manage your spare parts and inventories. So we have to connect all this into one platform to make the job easy for everyone. So this is how a spinning mill network will work when we have a digitized system. Now, how we are approaching to hold this, we call this system as Essential. So Essential is a Rieter digital spinning suite. So now we have here, as you see, we have several steps, 4 important steps. The first one is Essential Basic. This is nothing but you have a web shop where you can buy everything that you need for your equipments. So this is very easy, and this is going on. Everybody is today using web to procure materials. The second stage is the monitor. So we do monitor each and every machines as well as the process. There are productivity alarms, there are online quality and energy monitoring. The third one is, of course, the Essential Maintain. So maintain comes with condition monitoring. That means we measure each and every machine's health and try to find out whether they are in order or they need certain predictive measures, or we have to change something to maintain our productivity and efficiency. And the last one, of course, you reach the highest level of optimization with Essential Predict. So here we try to predict what is going to happen, and also we have correlation alarms. That means we are able to correlate machine to machine, and we are able to correlate also between shifts. We are able to correlate between processes. So this is how it is. The key impact, the most impact will come on traceability. I mean, what you produce today, you will be able to trace back and find out from where the raw material came, which field, which market from where you bought this raw material. Then what were the machine settings for this particular output if there is a complaint, or if a buyer is saying that your product was very good, then you are able to go back and see what was the machine setting at the time, and what was the systems and process during production of this particular item, and of course the online quality measurements. A lot of data, you really cannot manually screen them, you really cannot manually arrive at a particular decision, but this will be made easier with the digitization movement that we are trying to give it to the spinning industry. So last slide, the impact on digital monitoring. So you can see what can happen to your productivity, to your manpower, to your downstream efficiency, yarn realization, quality cuts, and energy savings. I mean, if you add up all this, there will be substantial savings, and it is not only savings, but your process will get smooth. And I think we will have a kind of a produce which will have least of the quality problems. So I hope I have been able to share with you the digitization trends in spinning as well as the impact that we have. Thank you very much.
Mr. Deka, thank you very much for your presentation and your insights and how Rieter is facing digitalization. I really liked your presentation because, you know, we know data, as you said, data is the new oil, but these 3 steps, you know, first of all, we have to monitor, you have to get the data, and then you create value out of these data. So you say maintain, and at the end you say predict. So I really like this very good approach. And of course, you know, I did research a lot, but at the end, you have to prove also that you achieved something with that. And I really liked your last slide, you know, exactly showing, okay, what are the savings? What can you achieve using this technology? And at the end, you have maybe a lot of small steps, but if you summarize that, that's an impact. That's a really, really important impact, especially if you need to be competitive. These are these things that can be, you know, the little step that makes you as a textile producer, yarn producer, more competitive than the other one. So thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Deka.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you, I have some questions. So
Welcome.
In general, the textile industry, or in your impression, are they ready to go for digital manufacturing? And if so, where do you see the challenges?
Yeah, it's indeed it's the bullet that you have hit, Chair, with this question, because this is not very easy. It's challenging, even though if we see the entire value chain, we see that our garmenters or our some of the processes like processing and dyeing, they have already started to go in a digitized way, but not yet there. But when I look into spinning, where we are, you know, focusing, it's a bit, you know, kind of in a situation where they want to adopt it, but there are a lot of hurdles.
Okay.
And first thing is that they are thinking now what to do with the old installed machines which we already have. Can we bring them in the same you know, digital network like the new ones? Yeah. And second is there are so many I would say companies who are offering different digital solutions. The industry is really a bit confused. So I think, say, we are in a place where it is called storming. And I already see that we are moving towards norming. Okay. And once the norms are set, and I think this industry will really jump into digitization.
Okay, very good, very good. And can you explain a little bit how traceability has an impact on digital manufacturing?
Yes, I mean, if you see today, there are several examples. from the time we give our inputs to the time the end product reaches our customer, it's kind of a 1 month, 2 months, depending on work in progress, depending on how the manufacturing has been planned. And then suddenly you get a customer concern. They say that there is a problem with the lot, and maybe they say this what is it is. And now you have to really track back. You have to track back that what happened in my process and what was the raw material that I have used.
Yeah.
In today's situation, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult because it's manual.
Okay.
And in many areas, they don't even know where the raw material came from, because they are again stocked. Raw materials are stored for months.
Yep.
So traceability will help them immediately to find out if something had gone wrong and when it had gone wrong.
Okay. Okay.
That is number one. And second, it will also give them an opportunity to explain to the buyers that nothing can go wrong because I have this, in place, and they can show it.
Yeah. So somehow security also for the buyer if traceability technology is used. Yeah. I understand. Okay. My last question. How do you see the digital revolution in a country like India, where manpower is not an issue? How do you see the role of digital revolution there?
Yeah, I mean, this was a big question for many of us. Do we need digitization in India? I mean, when you have so many people, they are available. But more and more, what we see is that, people are sure they are there, but it's very difficult to control processes. It's very difficult to handle data manually. And it's very difficult to, put lots of resources, manpower resources, without digitization to arrive at a particular decision.
Yeah.
So irrespective of, availability of manpower, I think spinning industry in particular or textile in general cannot really live without digitization in coming years.
Yeah.
So they have to adopt it. And they have to really compete globally.
Well said, Mr. Deka. We are at the end of our session. For this described digital journey of yourself and Rieter and your customers, I wish you all the success. My impression is of what you present here, what you explained. I've got the feeling you're on the right track. I don't know. Future will show the results, but as said, I wish you a lot of success, especially for your customer. And thank you very much for your contribution to our second Global Textile Conference. And I hope we will soon have the chance to meet each other personally, maybe in India, maybe in Germany, maybe somewhere else on this planet. Have a good time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Mr. Deka, thank you very much for your presentation. You know what I really like, that's the 3-level approach, monitor, maintain, predict. That's, of course, first you have to start to get the data, then you can make a value out of that. And I also like especially your last slide, and me as a technician, I always like technology, but it's always the question, okay, what does technology bring you? What's the return on invest? And I really like your realistic approach and say, you see, here we just got something, here we've got something, here we've got something. In total, that's a really huge impact that digitalization will give with the help of your technology. I prepared some questions. Please let me ask you 3 questions, Mr. Deka. Is the textile industry in general and spinning in particular ready to go for digital manufacturing? What are the challenges?
I mean, this is a very, very important question, and I think the right moment to really deliberate on this. I mean, we have the spinning industry is very old, as you know, and the spinning industries mostly work in a life cycle of 20 to 25 years. I mean, if you have supplied a machine 20 years back, it's still running. Huh?
Yeah.
It's still running. So
the machine is still running, not from the competitor.
So the biggest challenge is here. how do we bring in the old install base to the new generation digital systems? I mean, when it comes to a new greenfield project, it's quite easy. I
Yeah.
mean, you have the machines which are prepared to be connected with such a system, but then the challenge is the old machines. I mean, yes, a lot of works are going on, and I think it will be possible. Now
Good.
the second challenge is there are many solutions coming from different suppliers, and the end users, particularly the spinning industry, there are little bit confusions. I mean, confusions in the sense which way we should go. How do we connect our systems?
Yeah.
Because a digital transformation can work well if you buy a full system from a supplier, because
Yeah.
then the supplier can really give you a compact system. But then when you have different machines, then you have different challenges. But I'm sure this will be also done very
Okay.
soon.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your answer. Second question: how do you see the digital revolution in a country like India? Where manpower is not an issue.
Yeah, I mean, we first initially thought digitization is not for India. It is for countries like US, or Europe, where
Yeah.
some textile still exists. But we were proven wrong. I mean, we have seen now our customers who are thinking in this direction, and they would like to, go for digitization, not only because they will be able to reduce people, but then it facilitates many other things. I mean, it facilitates, you have seen in my presentation all the advantages.
Yeah.
I think it is irrespective of availability of manpower. The industry has to welcome this change.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. My last question: could you explain how traceability is impacted by digital manufacturing?
Yeah, very much. I mean, when I heard the last session, I mean, there itself, it was very clear how important is traceability. I mean, today, a small example, I mean, from the time we produce something till the time it reaches our buyer or our consumer, I mean, there is a time lag. And if something happens, then it's very, very important for us to go and track back. I mean, what happened, I mean, from where it came. So it can help either to diagnose our processes. It can also help to improve our processes, and it can also help us to defend ourselves, that we did everything right, there cannot be anything which is going wrong here. So I think traceability is important. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Mr. Deka, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, for your presentation and your input, your thoughts, and wish you a lot of success on your journey in bringing digitalization with your technology to India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are running a little bit out of time, but that should not bind us, because I'm very pleased to welcome another panelist, Dr. J.V. Rao from the Textile Skill Council of India. The Textile Skill Council, TSC, is an industry-driven organization dedicated towards capacity building of the Indian textile industry. And it was set up in 2014, and its aim is to train about 1 million person in 10 years. 1 million person in 10 years. It is headed by the chairman of CITI. Dr. Rao will tell us about the role of TSC in improving digital literacy among the human resources for Indian textile industry of the future. Dr. Rao, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Let me begin with what Prasanta Deka has said towards the end of his lecture, where digitization, when they wanted to have it, they had their own doubts whether it will be applicable to Indian conditions or not. On a similar note, we also had a lot of challenges when we wanted to make sure that our workforce is in tune with the technological developments that are taking place all across the world. But then there are many challenges when we talk about skilling of the Indian textile industry workforce, basically because we have totally 6 major challenges when compared to all other textile producing countries. The first one is that unlike all other countries, in the case of Indian textiles, we have a wide range of technologies, be it in spinning, weaving, knitting, processing, including technologies like the handloom technology. So we have a wide range of products. We have a wide range of fibers to be handled, and we have to necessarily make sure that the skilled workforce is in tune with the developments that have taken place and the future developments that are going to come into place. So when Textile Sector Skill Council was established 7 years back, I was given the target of making sure that industry-ready workforce is made available. So we first analyzed the kind of problems the industry has. Now, to begin with, if you look at the quality of the workforce, majority of them either not undergone a formal schooling, or they have never had any education, and they're all coming from different regions. So there is always a language barrier. Unlike other countries, we have several languages. And the industry is widespread, starting from up country in the Jammu and Kashmir down to south and east to west. So we had a lot of challenges in making sure that we prepare the workforce to suit all kinds of conditions. Now, the other major issue which we have is that majority of the workforce is coming from clusters where the industry is not in existence, which means that majority of the workforce is migrant labor. These migrant labor work for a short while, maybe few weeks, or few months, and then they go back, and again they may or they may not come. With the result, the industry is always having a permanent department like any other production department, like they do have a training department. And training always goes on because the attrition rates are quite high. So the challenge before our Sector Skill Council was, how do we make sure that all these things are met as per the industry requirements? Now, the another point before Textile Sector Skill Council came into existence is the quality of the training. There's no systematic or internationally or nationally accepted occupational standards. It was all subjective. It all depends upon the kind of trainer the unit has engaged. So the quality of the training was in a big doubt. So we were asked to develop a system which will be acceptable by the industry. So to sum up, the major challenges we had is a wide range of products and diversity in fibers, and the problems of ill-educated workforce plus migrant workers. So we had no option than to rely upon the latest technology, that is digital literacy. Now, as I told you that the majority of them are not even gone to schools. So any training material that is prepared has to be in such a fashion that it should be more pictorial than in any language. The second thing is most of this training takes place on the job, which means that we have to develop ensures that the worker need not be all the time on the production line. He should be in a position to go and get himself acquainted with the skills online. So we have developed a digital learning process. In fact, recently we have also taken the advantage of automatic identification and data capture, so that the training handbook, which will have a QR code, once it is scanned through QR code, he will be able to assess all the information which is available on the cloud, and it is also made available in the language in which he can understand. So as Deka had put it, one of the reasons why it is successful in India is because the skilled workforce has been made familiar with digital technologies. Another factor which I think I should definitely bring it to the notice is that irrespective of the factor whether the person is coming from a metro or a 3-tier or 4-tier towns or maybe in remote places, they're all familiar with the smartphones. The acquaintance with the smartphones has helped us to a great extent to digitize most of the training content and made available on a mobile phone, so that the workers are always in line with what is happening, and they have the right kind of training material at their disposal to get themselves trained. So TSC over the last 7 years has made use of extensively the digital technology and tried to answer the major issues which industry was facing prior to establishment of TSC. So we also of the opinion that sooner or not later, we will be coming out with a full-fledged digitized training materials for technical textiles, which is going to come in a big way for Indian industry. When we talk about the technical textiles, the basic machine operations are going to be same, whether in the case of conventional and technical textile processing. But the major issue is on product development, product designing, product quality evaluation. So we are using the digital technology to prepare the required training materials and the skills to make sure that the industry will get the right kind of a workforce. And all this has happened is because of the digital literacy which we are proceeding further. I think that has answered my specific point, that how it has helped in improving the skill requirement of the industry. Thank you.
Dr. Rao, thank you very much. That's a wonderful approach to a really big question: skills, competencies, digital literacy, technical textile. Thank you very much for giving us insights in your work, what you are doing. And I think that has really a big impact on the Indian textile industry, not only today, but also in the future. Thank you very much, Mr. Rao, Dr. Rao.
Thank you.
So since we still are live, and I would just want to ask in the audience if there are any questions that we should ask here. Any questions someone wants to ask Mr. Deka, Dr. Rao, a question? You have the chance right now. If not, we go to our tea break. So I just wait a little bit. If someone is writing something in the chat or raising the voice to ask a question. I don't hear anything. I don't see something in the chat. So I think the presentations went well because there are no questions. And in any case, I would like to thank everyone contributing to the session again. Thank you very much for your time, for your valuable time, for your presentation and insights. I would like to answer the organizers for giving us a chance. And of course, I'd like to say to all participants, enjoy the rest of the conference, and please, I'm really looking forward that after the pandemic, we are able to travel again. I would love to be in India with you right now. I said, enjoying the interaction, enjoying your beautiful country, your hospitality. So let's hope that we can meet soon again. And I wish you all a lot of success and a good time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.